And when you put all that together, Molema's claim to be Moshe feels less like just political talk and more like this deep assertion of, well, spiritual sovereignty.
Because identity is power, as the saying goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he uses it to reframe history entirely. He says things like, Black people are not just victims of history, we are history.
We're not just Africans, we're Israelites.
Yeah.
We're not just oppressed, we're ordained. That's a powerful reframing.
It's a direct counterpunch to those colonial narratives, the ones that said Africans were savages, that their gods were demons, that apartheid tried to erase any sense of a valuable legacy.
He's basically standing up and saying, no, you were wrong. We remember who we are chosen. It's reclaiming dignity.
It is. Now, some might say, okay, but Moshe. I haven't seen that term in academic texts. And the source acknowledges that it might be a localized term, maybe symbolic for some.
But does that invalidate it for those who hold that identity?
The argument presented is no, absolutely not. To dismiss it just because it's not in Western books would be, as the source puts it, erasing the core of African identity.
Because memory, stories, bloodlines, those are forms of knowledge too.
Exactly. The West has written books, but we have memory, we have stories, we have bloodlines. It's about recognizing different ways of knowing and preserving history.
And this message, it fundamentally shifts the narrative.
Yeah.
From you are a poor African born to suffer to something else entirely.
To you are a priestly people born to rule. That's the transformation. It's about reclaiming meaning, dignity, power, not through violence, the source stresses, but through memory, through lineage.
And that's why it's described as potentially dangerous.
Dangerous to the existing power structures. Dangerous to those who benefit from keeping people confused, disconnected, and disempowered.
Because if people start seeing themselves differently, as sacred, ancient, chosen,
then the whole system of economic and cultural domination starts to look shaky. It starts to crack. That's where the political and the spiritual really intersect with potentially huge consequences.
So, just to wrap our heads around this, Molema's claims connecting his identity to ancient Israel, blending faith and ancestry, it's a profound challenge. It questions established history, established power, here in South Africa, and maybe even more broadly.
It really forces a rethinking of identity, heritage, and where people draw their sense of legitimacy and strength from.
Absolutely. So here's something to think about. If acknowledging these kinds of ancient lineages, like the Lembas, can genuinely reshape national identity and political struggle, what other forgotten histories, what other deep spiritual connections might be waiting in our own backgrounds, in your own ancestry?
And what shifts could rediscovering those unlock for us individually and maybe even collectively?